Tom Skipper. Tom Skipper is the proprietor and the licensee of the Crown and Anchor in Grenfell Street, which is facing the, well, what do they have these days? The demolition wreckers ball, I suppose. I don't know how they do it, but I hear they want to keep the facade of this old hotel, which is possibly, I think, 1850, which is a grand age, beautiful old hotel, one of the oldest in the state, and a music venue too, very popular music venue. Anyway, Tom Skipper is the proprietor, he's the licensee, and he is very keen to get people to understand this is not something to be knocked down. And what they want to do is build student accommodation. I would have thought we would have had plenty of student accommodation around Adelaide, but there you go. Tom, thank you for sparing the time to talk with us. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. When did you find out that you were for the wrecking ball?
Yeah. Well, I got notified by the landlord probably about, 6-7 weeks ago now, and obviously things have progressed pretty quickly. He's got an intention to sell to a overseas development group that are proposing to put up high-density student accommodation on the site.
Do you know how much money is involved?
Well, I think it's a $50 million development, but the transaction for the sale was probably around about the high 12s in terms of the sale price.
Yeah. It's a lot of money if you want to sort of put on a really big concert and raise the money and buy it yourself.
Well, I would have even liked to see it at the table, not at that much, but at least a seat at the table would have been nice to have a discussion about an offer.
Yeah, well, I know that Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney would have put on a show and raised the money in one day. But, I'm a romantic, I guess. How much time have you got left?
Oh, look, the process from here out will be quite a lengthy one. They've still got to obviously meet a number of requirements for the planning laws. And that process could take months. We're looking at opportunities. We'll go out for a public consultation. So any listeners out there that want to actually help support, we can, as soon as public notification comes out, I urge you to sort of get on board and write a letter to SCAT, which is the determining panel that will obviously take public interest at heart.
For those people who haven't seen, I've got my son Christopher here at the dining room table, so he's a regular patron of yours.
Absolutely.
He tells me he absolutely loves it. But for people who haven't seen the Crown and Anchor, give us a word picture. What's it look like?
Look, it's a historic-looking old hotel, but it's an eclectic one. It's still holds true as a front bar. It's got the old timber sort of fridges with the old latching, and it's preserved a lot of history. But it's primarily a live music venue, and that was sort of the decision was made 30 years ago in terms of take the dining room out, take the kitchen out, and turn it into a live performance space. It's been doing live performances ever since for 30 odd years.
Well, Tony's just got a picture of it up on his screen here, and that's just beautiful. That really looks lovely. I must come in.
Yeah, you should. Well, I've still got time. But it's catered for a very sort of eclectic group of patrons, and it's been home and sanctuary home for so many other people. And certainly, it's a beacon for the live music industry, giving a lot of young musicians and early adopters to a start.
Well, I mean, we don't have very many live music venues in Adelaide. We can't afford to lose a really good one. Tell me some of the people who have been through there. Do you have any stars and main attraction kind of people?
Yeah, look, we've had everyone from Tex Perkins, from Cruel Sea. We've had Super Jesus, Sarah McLeod, who's a local girl that made it big. We've had the Hives came and do a DJ set. Tame Impala's been through there. We've had Jebediah. We've had a lot. It's some big names, but it's also broken bands like the Bad Dreams that started on our stage and have gone on to national acclaim. The Grenadiers was another sort of local band that made it big on the sort of national stage for a while. So yeah, it serves as a great stepping stone for a number of musicians to get a start.
How long have you been there?
Look, I've owned it for 7 years now, and I'm hoping to own it for another 7 at least.
Well, when is the lease up?
Well, I do have a lease through till 2026 with a right of renewal. So,
well, if you've got right of renewal, if you've got right of renewal, they can't really kick you out, can they?
No, they cannot. No, they cannot.
Yeah. The pub is what, 1850?
1853, which makes it one of the earlier ones in South Australia.
Well, how could you knock that down? I would have thought that would have been heritage listed.
Well, there's only 2 walls, so we'll actually keep the remaining facade, and everything behind those 2 walls will then be demolished.
Do they have a plan to, I don't know what, keep the hotel as it is, but build behind it in an unintrusive way, or will it be forever changed?
They tend to gut the internals, and they'll use that as part of their development.
Yeah. Well, it must be very annoying. I guess you have put in an awful lot of work to build it up to the point where it is today.
Absolutely. But, I mean, I tell you what, we've got a huge amount of public upswell, which has been fantastic and quite humbling. So, they've picked a fight with an angry publican, but also he's got behind him a groundswell of supporters. So we'll be taking it to the politicians in the streets, and we'll certainly be fighting it the best we can.
We have lost along the way some marvellous architecture. We've lost some wonderful hotels. I'm thinking of the South, the old South. You're probably a bit young to remember that.
I am.
Well, it had gone by the time I got to Adelaide in 76. But I've seen pictures of it, and it was absolutely breathtakingly wonderful. Again, what did they do? They knocked it down and they built that cream brick, square box. It's just amazing that people will be allowed to do that. What was that originally? It was the Ansett Hotel or something, wasn't it?
No, I'm not sure, but we've lost a number of good live music venues in the East End, and we're one of the very last, unfortunately. So it would be sad to see it go, because we pride ourselves on being the only city in Australia with the UNESCO City of Music status, and it's something we've got to actually hold on to and care for, because live music for so many people is vitally important.
What do you? The city, I would have thought, would have been a bit problematic, because once afternoon, evening comes, you've got very few people in the city. But mind you, that could be good for parking. Parking would be easier at night. But there's no shortage of patronage at the hotel. It's an extremely busy venue, and it's always traded well. And the numbers aren't at all concerning. It's more its longevity. So that's what we're trying to preserve. Well, that's a very good reason to preserve it, because if no city really should die at 5 o'clock when the office people go home. But mind you, the office people these days, a lot of them are working from home.
It is noticeable, yes.
It is. So you want to keep life in the city. What is a city without life? A vibrant life.
Exactly. And you talk to anyone in the city council or the state government, and vibrancy is the word they throw around a lot. But they're going to have to invest in it if they want and preserve it if they want to continue. Have
you got any allies at City Hall, State Parliament?
We do. The Greens leader, Robert Sims, has been a great, tremendous supporter. We've got bipartisan support there with the Liberals as well, and it's now just lobbying the Labor government that can actually make reform changes and also override this application. Whether the planning minister wants to get involved is yet to be seen, but well, you see, our Premier can make a captain's call if he really wanted, but I doubt that will happen.
These people want to try and please everybody. They want to look like they're on the side of the builder, the promoter, and then they want to be on your side as well. I think it's a very sort of strange sort of line they want to walk. Almost impossible. You can't please everybody, but just do the right thing. No, that hotel, from what I've seen, this picture, and I'll come and have a closer look at it, but the picture that I've seen here is just too beautiful to just knock it down and say, well, this is progress. We need student accommodation. You can put the student accommodation somewhere else, surely.
Well, there's a number of vacant sites around the city, and I would say that and argue that there's better use on other sites than there's the sacrifice of a hotel.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. What do you got on for lunch?
Well, the actual pub doesn't serve any meals. Hasn't for 30 years.
Right.
Adjacently next door, we have an outdoor bar called Roxy's.
So you don't have a kitchen?
No.
Okay. No kitchen, but food, booze and entertainment.
We just serve up cold beer and amplified music. There you go.
And the audience is what, pretty young?
It's a diverse group. You can have the lawyers in suits during their lunch breaks or after work.
So you got music. You got music in the middle of the day.
No. Our performances usually start sort of around about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Okay, so
go right through to about midnight, 1 o'clock.
So they'll be coming in to have a drink rather than be entertained during the day.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Well, keep up the good work. We're thinking of you, Tom, and I wish you well.
Appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
No, good luck with it. Tom Skipper, he's the proprietor and licensee, the Crown and Anchor, which is in Grenfell Street. Tell me, Christopher, come closer. Closer. Tell me, you discovered it, or you just like it, or stumbled by it, or what?
I love it. I think probably from the age of 18, after I was legally allowed to start drinking, I was introduced to it via my friends.
Yeah.
You know, the live music scene there is phenomenal. Plus, it's reasonably priced in terms of what drinks you want.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, for me, I'm a bit of I always get the same drink every time. I've got my regular drink.
What is it?
Pale Ale. Cooper's Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing fancy, but something nice. $8 there. Everywhere else in the area, $11 for the same amount in a glass.
Okay, well, that's a good edge, you know.
It's a good edge.
He should have mentioned that.
I don't know why I didn't. I would because it's my favourite drink, but that's just me.
Well, I don't know that I dig the music. I didn't recognise anybody that...
He'll put his prices up there.
I recognise a lot of names. I've seen a few of them as well, and they are fantastic. Absolutely amazing. And the fact that they had played there and they've gone on for more successes is really just a tribute to what this bar represents.
Well, what are you going to do if they do close it down?
I don't know.
You have to find another bar.
There's nowhere else I'd rather go, to be honest.
Are there any other bars in that neck of the woods?
There are. You've got Exeter, you've got... I do like Belgian Beer Cafe, but that is more of...
well, that's kind of, well, I would say modern. It's very, I've been there. I like that. It's nicely done.
Yeah, I like it too, but I think it's not the vibe that I want. I love the Crown and Anchor, to be honest. Or as we call it, the Cranker. I think it's very important that we save the Cranker. Yeah, there's a hot spot for our community.
Yeah.
A sense of togetherness. You can listen to live music. You can play pool. There are 2 pool tables there. You can get a very, very reasonable drink.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why we have to lose this for student accommodation.
Well,
it doesn't make sense.
I
and the history there as well.
What time does it close?
Well, that depends on what day of the week you go. I think on average, if it's around the weekend, you're probably looking at, most establishments is 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock in the morning?
That's lockout rules.
Oh, do you know what my mother always told me?
What?
I don't think your mother did tell you. But nothing good happens after midnight.
I agree with that. I do agree with that, 100%. But I think for an establishment that's lasted 170 years, going on to 171 years, being profitable, there's no reason to lose it. How many other places have we lost? I mean, Duke's Edinburgh Hotel, the Edinburgh Castle, they reopened in December. That is the longest and oldest bar in Adelaide. They closed down end of January.
There was another one called, it used to be called The Producers.
That's down the road. That's down the road.
Directors?
No, the Producers. The Producers. That's kind of down the road from where the Crown Anchor is.
Where's the Directors?
Grove, I think.
Grove Street.
That's a different bar. But there's another one down, I think, on Grenfell Street.
I think they're generally all, or unless you've got a niche, as Tom has, unless you've got that niche, and I can understand why he wants to preserve it, because that's his market. But you look around and you see a lot of pubs with for lease signs stuck up the front.
Unfortunately, yes.
Now, that means what? I mean, the COVID thing probably knocked the business community in the city around considerably.
Possibly. I'm not too sure. I think it did definitely impact business and income. But at the same time, that was so long ago now. It feels like that, at least from my perspective. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't. But we've definitely had improvements in our status of work. You know, you got the ability to work from home. It's been a while since we've had any type of lockdown or statewide emergency due to COVID numbers, especially in Adelaide, at least.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that should be an adequate reason to go, okay, this bar that everyone loves, that has a history, that has a culture, we're just going to move on and allow student accommodation to move on in. That is no excuse. Even if it was relevant, it's no excuse to lose culture.
No, but a city is dependent upon people being in it. Everything, the economy, the business world, the employment, all of that.
Sure.
Caroline's just written me a note. The rise of alcohol taxation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
In Port Adelaide, it's sort of shouting because the clientele's dropped off because of the rise of the costs and everything.
so you're talking about the alcohol excise.
Yeah.
Are you? Okay, all right.
Well, that's another important aspect or variable in this discussion, I suppose. But at the same time, going there as a regular, I've not seen that at all impact the Crown and Anchor. No, I don't know for whatever reason if it has or hasn't. Or
The prices haven't gone up. I think that excise lift in tobacco, alcohol, and what else was there? There's petrol, alcohol, and cigarettes. Yeah, and every quarter it goes up, or every 6 months, one or the other.
yeah.
And the government talks about cost of living and it'll help people. Well, it can help people by not putting the excise up every 6 months.
Exactly. It's a bit of an oxymoron, to be honest.
That describes the government perfectly.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, more to come. Keep me across that. Let me know what transpires. If Tom doesn't, you let me know.
I will, 100%. In fact, I will mention that earlier this week, on Wednesday, I actually went to Parliament House to support the Cranker in the gallery. And we got a good decision or result out of it that will keep the conversation going.
Yep.
And yeah, if you need any voices on the floor to let you know what's going on or ears on the floor, I will be there for you.
Okay. Let me
I
know.
will be there for the Cranker.
And I will
Save the Cranker.